Just past 11 o'clock here on your Thursday morning. Normally, we talk to our movie guy on Fridays, but this week, we've got him here on a Thursday. We'll get you a good head start on the weekend by talking to Matt Evans, who joins us on the phone to talk movie news and some new releases this week, too. So he's our resident movie expert, and he's also a fan of the last place Baltimore Orioles. Hello, Matt.
We'll rub it in. Ouch.
I have to get a shot in there as a Yankee fan. I have to get a shot in there on Baltimore. Any chance I get.
I see. I was going to start the day off being nice, but I see how you set the tone.
The gloves are off.
Yeah, it's actually a good thing we're doing it on Thursday because in today's day and age, most movies that there's no longer a Friday premiere. Almost all the movies we're going to be talking about today, you can actually go see this afternoon. So if you get an early weekend and you're lucky enough to have that, go check out one of these flicks.
Wow, how did we get to that point? We used to have, midnight showings on Thursdays, and now we're just starting the weekend off with new releases on Thursdays.
I think it's like it's that Black Friday mentality. In a few years, Black Friday is going to be the week before, and I think Friday movies are going to end up moving to Wednesday night premieres, and the earlier they can get them out, the better, I guess.
Yeah, we just can't wait anymore, can we?
We are a culture of impatience, that's for sure.
Yes. So we'll get to some of those movies that are out today. But first, what's happening in the news area this week?
Well, the Russo brothers, as you might know, they directed Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and they are doing the Infinity Wars movie. They are embarking on their press tour this week, and they have done it in a really cool fashion. They've released a letter to the press and to the public. And basically, the letter states that they're not going to be showing the movie in its entirety at all until the premiere. So nobody's going to see the full movie until they do the premiere just before the worldwide launch, which is unusual but really cool because they want to keep the spoilers in check.
And as we've talked about before, Infinity War has been bumped up a week earlier than it was originally planned to come out, right?
Yeah, it's an April 27th launch or 23rd launch this month. So instead of coming out on May 7th, it's coming out almost 2 weeks early. So yeah, they're really rushing to get this to the screens. And there's no reason to think there's anything other than the fact that they're excited to get the movie out there. By all early indications, it looks like an amazing movie. They are saying that only a handful of people know the true plot. So if you come across spoilers or leaks online, odds are those aren't true. And in today's day and age, that's rare.
It is. I love that, too, because you know how I feel about spoilers and even trailers spoiling the plot of a movie. I can't stand it. So when a bunch of internet trolls get it wrong, then that makes me happy.
Right, and the thing is, I've never been a huge fan of spoilers either, but the more I do this, the more I find myself exposed to it. You can't really start, researching movies coming out and getting news stories without getting inundated with all that. So for somebody like me who can't really avoid it, by bringing you guys this information, I'm excited that all the stuff I've been reading is going to be wrong because I rarely get surprised anymore, and it's kind of disappointing.
That's true. We've ruined your enjoyment of movies, haven't we? I'm sorry.
Oh no! Don't say that. I still enjoy them thoroughly. Trust me, but it's not. I don't have that same awe magic that I used to get.
Right. Well, that is rare. I mean, it is hard. It's hard for anybody, really. If you just open up your browser or if you watch any kind of movie news show or listen to anything, there's so much that gets out there, and a lot of times it's people that say, "Hey, I don't want to spoil this, but here's what happens," and it's like, "What? What are you doing?"
Right. And the thing is, even just a couple of years ago, it wasn't that bad. Even just a couple of years ago, you had to kind of really search out spoilers and stuff. Right now, you pop on Facebook and it's in your timeline feed. Main news websites and stuff are doing articles about it, and so it is really hard to avoid. You almost have to actively avoid hearing anything about upcoming movies if you want to have that left.
Okay, well that's good. That's good news. What else is going on this week?
Well, DC's Flash solo movie has been retitled. We just don't know what the new title is. They were calling it Flashpoint, which is the name of one of the most famous comic book arcs of the character. But now we're hearing that they're not going to be calling it Flashpoint, but it is still going to be loosely adapted off of that comic arc. So we're not sure quite what the direction is. Right now, the big question is Lauren Cohen and Jeffrey Dean Morgan going to reprise their role as Mr. and Mrs. Wayne, Batman's parents, because they play an integral part in this storyline in the comic books. So we're still kind of up in the air if they're going to change it too much or if they're going to keep it along. Fans are pretty nervous right now. They're on edge. DC hasn't done a great job, and Flashpoint was the one thing that they were really looking forward to.
That will be particularly interesting for people that watch the Flash TV show on the CW network, because they have already done the Flashpoint arc on the TV show.
Right, and they did their own unique spin on it too. So that also wasn't a direct adaptation of the comic books. So if they stick in that same vein and they keep it close but kind of twist it for their own needs, I think the fans are going to be okay with it. The fact that they're moving away from that title indicates that they may be moving away from that as the main arc of the movie, and that's a little upsetting because that, like I said, that is one of the most famous Flash stories out there. So we'll have to see. We're still a year and a half away from this movie, so we got a while to get more news on it.
Okay. Well, any other news of importance this week?
Just the movies coming out. We got a great selection of movies this week.
Well, let's talk about those.
First up is Blockers. I actually went and saw this Wednesday night. It is fantastic. It's really funny. It has to be your kind of movie, though. It's one of those raunchy teen comedy movies. It's going to be, kind of like a Porky's or an Animal House or a Superbad or very much along those veins. And so if that's your kind of style, check it out. It's absolutely hilarious from the beginning to the end. And it's a unique take on the teen comedy movie because it's kind of a gender swap thing. So instead of being a bunch of raunchy teen boys, it's actually the girls that take the lead in this movie.
Okay. What else do we have this week?
Chappaquiddick is out this week. Chappaquiddick is it's a deep look at a scandal that rocked America in the 60s. It is the true life story of Ted Kennedy when he, the infamous bridge incident where he drove off the bridge, tragically ending the life of Mary Jo Kopechne, played by Kate Mara in this film. All indications are that it's great. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of like 80% right now. Check it out. Of course, this movie's not going to answer a lot of the questions. It kind of leaves a lot more questions unanswered, but that's just necessary in a movie like this where it is a lot of speculation as to the true events. But it looks like the director nailed it and hit it out of the park with this one. A lot of people are saying this is one of the movies to watch this year. If you only go see a couple, this should be on your list.
Okay, so we've got your teen comedy, we've got your true life drama, and then we also have something scary coming out this week too.
Yeah, one of my favorite genres of movies is the monster horror thriller movie, and A Quiet Place comes out this week. Directed and starring John Krasinski. A lot of people may know him as Jim Halpert from The Office. Very different role here. Very, very different role here. He plays the father of two kids, him and his wife, and they're in like a post-apocalyptic monster movie where they hunt by sound. And so the movie has lots of dramatic pauses, lots of slow, quiet moments, and people are saying it is the best jump scare movie that we've had in a very, very long time.
Nice. I love the trailer for this film too because there's no dialogue in the trailer. And it really, I think, as far as movie trailers go, really sets up letting you know what you're in for and what you're going to get, but not telling you very much at all.
Right. The trailer of this movie's got such a really good mood to it. And I think that's an underrated aspect of movie trailers is it really sets the tone for what kind of movie this is going to be. And it just looks genuinely creepy. And I'm very, very nervous for PG-13 horror movies. They kind of have to hold back just by necessity of their rating. But this one has got, it's 99% on Rotten Tomato. All the critics are saying it's an amazing movie. The fan excitement about this movie is at a fever pitch. This is going to be one of the good movies of the year. This is going to go down as one of the greater horror movies that we're going to get this year. And it's just something that you don't see. It's a very unique take on the horror genre, too.
It's a great time of year if you're a movie fan because you've got three good ones, really solid movies coming out this week, and then of course you got some of the other blockbusters, Ready Player One and Black Panther, that are still in theaters, and then we're just right on the cusp of the big summer movie blockbuster season.
Yeah, and I think Hollywood is trying to make up a little bit for last year. Last year had some really big titles, but it was also an underperforming year as a whole. This year, the quality of movies that we've already seen. has set the bar so high for 2018 that I feel like they're trying to come out of the gate strong. And if this is any indication of how the rest of the year is going to go, movie fans are in for an exciting year.
Get your popcorn ready. Matt, anything else before we have to wrap up?
We can tinfoil hat it for just a second. We can go back and talk about A Quiet Place. There is a theory on the internet. John Krasinski is well known that he was involved in the last Cloverfield movie before they changed it to a Cloverfield paradox when it was still known as the God Particle. He was involved in touching up the script and doing some other things. So the rumor going around right now is that A Quiet Place is actually a secret Cloverfield movie, part of J.J. Abrams' ever-expanding sci-fi horror, world. And there's some credence to the rumors too. Like I said, John Krasinski was highly involved in the movie before he pulled out of it, as well as the monsters. From what we've seen of the movie, they have a very high resemblance to the Cloverfield monster. There is some other threads that do connect them if you really want to dig into it on the internet and get. Just depends on how far down that rabbit hole you want to go. But it is an interesting theory, and there are enough that make you feel like it's not completely out of the question.
Wow, that's interesting. I like that, though, if that is true, tying several of these movies together in one universe, kind of like the Universal monster films way back when, how you could have the potential for different the same monsters or same characters crossing over from film to film, which is kind of neat.
Right, and the way that J.J. Abrams is building this world is much more nuanced too. It's less, these guys are all in the same world. Each one is loosely connected by a thread, and so it kind of gives you this cohesive world, but still allowing each movie to be different enough that they don't feel like sequels, which is a pretty big feat. So if this ends up being part of the Cloverfield franchise, that's going to be another, it's a big moment for him. The surprise release of Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix was a huge moment for the Cloverfield franchise. It kind of came out of nowhere. If this gets revealed to be a Cloverfield movie, that's going to be another mind-blowing thing for the fans. So, big surprises from J.J. Abrams. We'll have to see how it goes.
All right, we shall see. Matt, hey, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us. We'll have you on at your regular time next week on Friday, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay, have a great weekend.
All right, you too. You guys enjoy the weather and go out and see a movie.